What is up, people on the internet, living on YouTube forever? It is the Ninja Nick 333 back with yet another round of day 2 of the Pokemon San Diego Regional Championship stream. Looks like on the left we have Samuel Sosa. I'm assuming that that's Israel Sosa's brother. I didn't know that Israel Sosa had a brother. Versus Drew Bennett Kennett playing the Regis. That's pretty much all he's played this entire season is Regis. So yeah, looks like double Regis from Drew. Hopefully he gets to that, Hisuian Heavy Ball so that he is able to not just straight up lose this match. And then, Samuel Sosa, by his last name, I would assume that he's playing Hisuian Goodra with the Lost Zone engine, because that is what Israel Sosa was playing. We did see that one water energy in his prize cards, as well as the Cramorant, so that looks like that's most likely what he's playing. So this is actually going to be normally Lost Box would be 50-50 to unfavored with if you're playing Kyogre, it's like 50-50 with Reggie. If it's not playing Kyogre, it's very unfavored versus Reggie. But if it's playing Goodra, it's a very favored. So it's funny to see how different variations of Lost Box can have completely different matchup spreads. We do see Drew is looking through his deck already with, I believe that's a Quick Ball. Yeah, Quick Balled away an Aurora Energy. He's looking through his deck. He is likely going to identify that there are 2 Regis in his prize cards, so he's going to want to see that Hisuian Heavy Ball as early as possible. This Reggie deck, for those who aren't aware, needs 1 of every Reggie in play, which is 6 different variations. So that is 1 in every spot on your board. So he can only play Regis, and he has to have his whole bench full at all times. And they can't be duplicates. In order to use the Regigigas ability, in order to accelerate 3 energy cards of any type from your discard pile onto one of your Pokemon in play. Usually you use special energies such as the Aurora. Getting the Aurora in your discard turn 1 is amazing. You do need 2 Aurora in your discard at all times so that you can constantly use the attacks of most of the Regis. The Regigigas can survive off of any of the energies. It thrives using twin energy. But it needs any of the colored energies. It just needs 5 of them. And the Regieleki, you usually play a few, usually 3 Speed Lightning energies in your deck, because most of the time Regieleki is your best attacker in multiple matchups. So it's fine to use Speed Lightning for that, but for all of the other Regis, you need double Aurora and 1 colorless in order to use their attacks, because they're all different colors. And you do see Samuel Sosa does, in fact, get the Battle VIP Pass turn 1 and goes for the Goodra and Comfey. So he is playing the same as Israel. So Drew, if he didn't know what he was playing against already, is probably shitting himself right now, for lack of a better term. Looks like we're going to Comfey. We're going to get rid of the Hisuian Goodra V-Star, actually. A little surprising of a decision, in my opinion. But the other choice was Marnie. Maybe he wants to keep that in hand. We do see the potential for another Battle VIP Pass turn 1. Yeah, getting rid of that Scoop Up Net to keep a Battle VIP Pass. I think that's perfect. You can get potentially... it looks like Radiant Greninja is already in hand. So maybe get Cramorant out? I don't know. I think... yeah, I think it might have been better to just keep that Scoop Up Net in Lost Zone. Oh, he's going to go for double Goodra right now already. Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with that. Yeah, I think I would have kept the Scoop Up Net in Lost Zone to the Battle VIP Pass, because Reggie is very likely to be able to snipe your Comfeys. Hopefully he's also playing Manaphy as well. But since he didn't get that, maybe he's not. So yeah, if he's not playing Manaphy, I mean, I guess this matchup could potentially go either way. I think it's still favored for the Goodra. But the fact that there's 2 Goodra in play now, you know Drew has to be playing Serena or potentially even Boss. So if the first Goodra comes up and attacks, you just, you know, gust up the other Goodra that's on the bench and hit that one instead. And you just do that every turn so that you can maximize your damage output. But Samuel will be playing most likely some healing cards as well. And he can always Moisture Star as well. Oh, I think that in the previous, in that round where we watched Israel Sosa play, I missed how he healed his Goodra. I think he must have used Moisture Star. So that's a little quick addendum to that. Hopefully somebody corrected me in the comments there, because I had missed how it got healed in that game. Completely forgetting Moisture Star is a thing. A lot of people hate the word moist. I think it's fine. It's a very odd word, but we do see that Marnie is used, the one that was saved previously, but also another Marnie was lost zoned as well. And we do see the Goodra V-Star come out, so now that there's, yeah, I wasn't sure if there was like a 2-2 or a 3-3 line or something in between for the Goodra Vs from Israel's deck, and I'm assuming these two are playing the same 60. So the fact that the one Goodra V-Star is already in the lost zone means that we're not quite sure if both of these Goodras are even going to be able to get going. You can see Drew is doing his best to set up. It looks like he might have just Regigated with the Regigigas, or the Regirock, to get the Regigigas with Path to the Peak in play. So Path to the Peak being in play does block the Moisture Star from being able to come out. Actually, no, he Capture Energied. He played the Capture Energy to get the Regigigas. And now he's playing Marnie, and if he doesn't draw the Regi he needs, which it looks like is Aleki, he will likely just Capture Energy into it. But he's still going to have to find his Heavy Ball so that he can find that Regice off the prize cards. These Regi decks will play 3 Gigas and a 2-1 split of different Regielekis, so a total of 3 different Regielekis. But all of the other Regis in the deck are generally played at 2 copies each. So if you have 2 of the same Regi in your prize cards, and they're not Gigas or Aleki, you're kind of boned. You are forced to see that Heavy Ball as soon as possible. And most Regi decks only play 1 Heavy Ball. There was a time early when Regi decks were playing 2 Heavy Ball, but I think 1 is optimal. It's just very unlikely that you're going to prize 2 of the same Regi. So the amount of games where this exact scenario is going to happen, where you see double Regi in your prize cards and don't see the Heavy Ball by the time you want to start attacking. Like, it doesn't even look like Drew has the energy in his discard pile yet anyway, so he's fine not seeing the Heavy Ball yet, but you still want to see the Heavy Ball so you can get those Pokemon into rotation. But also the fact that Regigate got Aleki instead of Ice, that should telegraph to his opponent that double Ice is prized. Or in hand, I guess, but more likely prized. We do see the Chorus's Experiment coming out. The Temple of Sinnoh was lost zoned off of the Comfy, it looks like, as well. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Temple of Sinnoh is great for minimizing the effectiveness of the Regis. Not as well as Collapse Stadium would, because Collapse Stadium makes sure you can't have 1 of every Regi in play, so they can't even use the ability. But the Path to the Peak disallows the energy from being anything but single colorless energies, since they're all special. So that forces Regigigas to have to get 5 separate energy on it, and it to be the only capable attacker in that scenario. So I think in this particular matchup, you want to keep Temple of Sinnoh in play. So it must have been a really good card that he got off of that Comfy, in order to even consider lost owning the Temple of Sinnoh. Especially with the fact that the Path to the Peak is in play, and you want to be able to Moisture Star at some point. And you know Regi generally plays 3 to 4 Path to the Peak, so you want to make sure you conserve your stadiums in order to replace that path every time it comes down. And I highly doubt that this Goodra deck is playing more than 2 stadiums. I mean, it's possible, but most decks don't play more than that. It looks like there's something going on with the judges here. I didn't notice anything wrong. Did he draw one too many cards or something? Off of something? Oh, I think they're trying to say he got one too many cards off of Chorus, but he used the Comfy. Okay, they're rewinding game state for some reason. Okay, let's go back and actually watch that. I want to see what happened. Because I did miss that. Let's go back a little bit. So we're going to see. Yeah, so that was Drew's turn where he Marnied. Yeah, so we're seeing the Chorus's experiment. He looks at 5 cards. Did he use 2 Comfy abilities? I wish there was a better way to scrub. Okay, so he uses the Comfy that's active to Lost Zone the Mirage Gate. He then evolves his Goodra, switches into the other Comfy, uses that Comfy's ability. Oh, I think he double Comfy'd with the same one. Yeah, Temple of Sinnoh. And then he's going to use the Chorus. Yeah, so that's what happened. He used the same Comfy's ability twice. This is why you should really have ability markers. So that if you just like have a coin, like just a, you know, generic official Pokemon coin, you can just drop down on a Pokemon when you use its ability, or you can have like markers that say ability used. I mean, there's people that own 3D printers that can sell them to you probably for pretty cheap. I'm sure everybody knows a friend who has a 3D printer, if you really want like ability used ones specifically. But I used to just use the regular coins. I got out of the habit for a while, and then yeah, it looks like he's using the same Comfy a second time. Yep, so that's probably going to be a DPL. That's big oof. Now he's using Escape Rope. Yeah, so he got the Chorus's experiment off the Comfy and Lost Zone to the Switch. I'm a little surprised Drew didn't catch that. Yeah, so the way that Samuel's keeping track of the Comfy abilities is by tapping them slightly, but he did tap the Comfy that was active. He just didn't do it far enough, so it didn't look like it was tapped at all. So that's why I think that everybody should be using something like the Pokemon coins in order to signify that you've used an ability. Because it's hard to keep track of all of them so far, especially Comfys and Genesects, when you just have so many of them in play and you loop them and recycle them sometimes, especially in the case with the Comfys, where you're using scoop up nets. So you can use the same Comfy's ability essentially multiple times in a turn with scoop up net, and you escape rope. So just tapping them sideways like that isn't always the most effective, because it makes sure that the game state isn't as clean looking as possible. So yeah, he Lost Zone to the Switch and put Chorus in his hand. And then we're going to get a Judge Shuffle, and that's probably going to be a DPL, and that's going to give Drew a significant advantage now in this game. So Drew has to also reverse his escape rope choice, because the escape rope was not played yet since they're reversing the whole game state. I mean, it's good on judges to catch things like this. A lot of the times these table judges at these stream matches do not pick up on stuff like that. And since I'm commentating, I'm you know, I'm talking about each and every card specifically that comes into play, so even I miss little things like that. But, you know, once somebody, you know, once the judges say stop play, I can go in and, you know, I rewound that and I easily identified that he used the same Comfey twice. So good on these table judges being able to catch something like that. That is awesome. Again, judges normally don't catch stuff like this because, unfortunately, the judge program is kind of hot shit in Pokemon. But that's also because judges are not compensated well enough for anybody that would be good enough to be a judge to even judge. Like, I wouldn't mind judging, but they don't. I'm not gonna fly to San Diego to get paid like 1 or 2 booster boxes. You know what I mean? So we do see that they're now being marked with those Pokemon branded coins. And then we do still see the escape rope come out. So Comfey is going to look at a different 2 cards off the top of the deck. He's no longer getting Chorus's Experiment switch off of it. It's instead Temple of Sinnoh with Mirage Gate. I think that's actually better for Sammy. However, as you can see at the top of the screen here, there is a 2 prize penalty for Sammy. So Drew is going to have to take 2 less prize cards in order to win the game. He only needs to take 4. So with so many Comfeys in play, and the fact that there's already 2 Goodras in play too, if Drew can utilize his gusting effects properly, he can get around the attack effect of the Goodra V-Star that limits the damage output of the Regis, and potentially take some key knockouts on Comfeys on the bench. Especially since Sammy's already utilized, I believe, a couple of scoop-up nets. It's going to be unlikely that he's going to be able to heal off some of the damage and scoop up enough of the Comfeys in order to get them just out of play. But yeah, we do see a fully charged Goodra V-Star now. No way to move that Comfey out of the active, though, so there's not going to be a knockout and damage reduction of 80 with this Goodra V-Star. So now Drew is you know, in the driver's seat for this match, but Drew still needs to get to that Hisuian Heavy Ball. If Drew doesn't get to that Hisuian Heavy Ball, that 2 prize penalty is not going to matter. Let's see, we get the trekking shoes. We're going to discard the Cape of Toughness. Yeah, it looks like all of the good Reggie players have decided that Cape of Toughness is the tech for this tournament, knowing that they're likely going to be seeing 1 prize mirrors with either Lost Zone or Gigas. At my locals and stuff, we've been seeing a lot of Gigas mirrors, even before it was as popular as it is. I'm actually surprised that Gigas isn't more popular than it currently is now. I mean, as you can see, Drew has been doing well at, I think, every single regional of the season so far, just with Regis exclusively. So, I mean, that's consistency if I've ever seen it before. So we see the Comfey ability come out. We're deciding which one of these 2 cards we are going to keep for Samuel. Looks like it's a choice between Boss and Capture. Looks like he's going to get rid of the Boss. I think that's fine. I mean, Boss isn't really going to matter too much in this matchup. You're always going to have a Reggie active with Gift Energy. The only reason Boss would come up is if you're going to try to knock out a Reggie that doesn't have Gift Energy to try to limit Drew's draws. But again, we still see no Regis, so at this point, Samuel's got to know. Oh, and it looks like he still has another Boss anyway. A little irking to me that it's mismatched art on the Boss's orders, but what are you going to do? I always love it when every copy of a card that I'm playing in my deck looks identical. It makes it harder for your opponent to check counts of cards. So say game 1, you see 1 Cyrus Boss's orders, and then game 2, you see 1 Giovanni's Boss's orders. Like, if they were the same artwork, you don't technically know that your opponent is playing 2 copies of Boss's orders. But since they're 2 different arts, even though you've only seen it played once in 2 games, you would then be able to identify the fact that there's at least 2 Boss's orders in his deck. So it's like you could just kind of give away stuff by like having certain copies reverse hollow and certain copies not, or certain copies being different artwork. So if you're playing like, I don't know, 2 promo Archeops and 2 non-promo Archeops. It looks like we're going to see the Ordinary Rod putting back in both Reggie Rock, as well as a Quick Ball getting rid of a Steel to get the Rock back. But we're not seeing the Ice still. We still need that Ice, Drew. Where is the Hisuian Heavy Ball? Where is it? We're going to see Choice Belt come down on the Gigas. We're going to see the Dragon's Horde. And there's the Hisuian Heavy Ball. Drew can now start playing the game. Yeah, he knows that Regis is in there. So he very quickly pulls the first Regis he sees out of his prize cards, knowing that the only 2 Pokemon that are in there are both Regis. And immediately shuffle up. Looks like the Heavy Ball is at the bottom of the prize cards too. So even though the second Regis is at the top, it is still perfect setup for him. We also already have the double Aurora energy in the discard pile, and we have access to the gift energy as well. Even though the 1 gift energy was bossed around on that Gigas, we now have 2 in play. So now it's more likely that Samuel's going to be triggering the draw until he has 7 for Drew. Now it looks like so the reduction of 80 comes into play, but since that Regidrago has the Choice Belt on it, the Goodra still takes 110 damage, putting it at 160 remaining. So that math can matter since there's those Choice Belts. We did also see he does very skillfully eye up the Registeel with that boss's orders, because he knows that other Registeel was discarded on the previous turn from the Quick Ball. So, and he did double check the discard pile just to make sure that there was a Registeel already in the discard pile. So now that other Registeel was knocked out, Drew is in the situation again where both copies of one of his Regis are in the discard pile. He's going to need to Ordinary Rod this turn and search back out the Steel yet again in order to attack. So they're essentially tied on prize cards now because of the prize penalty, even though Drew hasn't essentially taken any prize cards left yet. So the Serena is going to come down. Unfortunately, that's his only option for drawing. Oh, he's actually going to use it to move up the benched Goodra, and then he's going to draw 1. It looks like that's a research. That's still not what you want to see when you have 2 Regis in hand. He also could have just played the Scoop Up Net, just to draw an additional card. I think that would have been kind of ideal. But you do want to save your nets sometimes, so there could be a turn where he wants to use Regigigas' ability twice, so you want to conserve the Scoop Up Net for that turn so you can reset the ability. But yeah, we just see 190 go down on this Goodra V, and all of a sudden it's looking better for Drew, even though he doesn't have the full Regi Brigade, as I call it, in play right now. Samuel's going to have to find a way to move that Goodra. And it looks like he's just throwing his cards in his hand around too on accident. Yeah, looks like, I'm not sure if he attached to the Comfy that turn or not. I missed that as well. So it's just going into Drew's turn now. Nothing's getting reduced damage right now. If Drew has another gusting effect, he could always bring up that Goodra V-Star again, but I think you're fine just taking the knockout on the active as well. Yeah, because if you can gust up that benched one, you can knock it out with the Drago. I think you are forced to... Oh, it looks like he top-decked a Regieleki too. So that's a really bad discard off of the Professor's research. But again, since all that he did was just discard that scoop up net with the research, I think it would have been better to play it on the previous turn to draw one extra card with the Dragon's Horde. So I think that's a minor misplay from Drew. He could have seen one card deeper by this point in the game. And the research looks like it's pretty dead, but at least he gets to take 2 prize cards. All that Drew needs is 2 more prize cards. So even though that Goodra is going to be reducing damage, it needs to take, this one Goodra needs to take 4 prize cards still. So will it be able to live that long? I think that you have to let the Regis hit into it one more time and then replace the stadium in Moisture Star and then hope that that gets you to 4 more knockouts. But since we already saw 2 Temple of Sinnoh in the Lost Zone, you can even see them on the screen right now. I think it's very unlikely that it'll be able to remove that Path to the Peak, but we do see off of this, Comfy, he is getting the Lost Vacuum, so this is actually perfect here. He's going to be able to finally get rid of that Path to the Peak, but I think you want to save that Lost Blower for the turn that you want to Moisture Star specifically. Because otherwise, Drew has to be playing 3 to 4 paths, so he's got 2 to 3 left in his deck, and he's got a big hand, so it's most likely he has access to another one in his hand already. And you can already see in Drew's hand, he does have it. So we see the Scoop Up Net allowing this Comfy to go active, so that he can use the Flower Selecting yet again. He's going to be able to get another 2 cards deeper here. Looks like he's deciding between Mirage Gate and the Metal Energy. I think it's fine Lost Zoning the Mirage Gate. You're not going to be setting up any other Goodras. The other one that he benched earlier was easily knocked out. And then again, because he benched 2 Goodras instead of just 1, yeah, and it looks like he's going to misplay here. He's going to use that Lost Vacuum now. So unless he specifically Moisture Stars this turn, he's not going to be getting any use essentially out of that Lost Vacuum. Looks like we're also seeing the big Parasol. That doesn't really matter. I'm not sure if his deck is playing Big Charm or anything like that, but that would be better. I don't think he is, but that would have been better to put on the Goodra. Yeah, we are seeing the Moisture Star now. Yeah, so since he used the Lost Vacuum this turn, I think it is fine using the Moisture Star now. I think that I would have preferred waiting one more turn. I think that even if that Gigas somehow attacks, it still wouldn't have knocked out the Goodra. It had 170 HP left. You're reducing by 80. The Gigas is doing 150 plus 30 for the Choice Belt. That's 180, so you're doing 100. So the Goodra would have still been left with 70 HP remaining. So then you could have saved that Lost Blower for the next turn, used that on the Path to the Peak then, and then used Moisture Star and got one more turn of value off of the damage healing. But also that requires Drew to not have a Marnie. But I think you have to risk it for the biscuit at that point. Like at that point, Drew already knows that there's 2 stadiums in your Lost Zone. I think he would think that it's highly unlikely that you're replacing the stadium, and then you just pull the Lost Vacuum out of nowhere, and then boom. But now this gives Drew more of an opportunity to take those last 2 prize cards that he needs. He might have to do it in 3 attacks, but again, Samuel does have to take 3 more prize cards. So he could be 1 turn off on this Goodra in order to be able to do that. We do see a huge research discarding a whole bunch of different resources. It looks like I think there's double Gigas in his discard now. He's really trying to find that Ordinary Rod. It looks like he gets it. Yeah, he does get it. And he also has at least one, no, it looks like Ultra Ball and Quick Ball. So he is able to now recycle the double steal, but now he's in a situation to where if the Gigas gets bossed and knocked out, he's in the same situation again. He'll have all 3 Gigas in his discard pile, and he'll need to find yet another Ordinary Rod on the next turn. So it is possible that you know, Samuel can just pull this out. It looks like he's actually going for 1 Steel and 1 Aleki. Oh, he's going for the quote-unquote bad Aleki, the one that snipes 120 on the bench. That way he can snipe the Cram or Comfy for an easy prize later. That could become very relevant. So he can actually go around the Goodra's attack and not have to worry about it and take his last 2 prize cards that way. As long as Samuel has used up enough scoop-up nets, which he might have done at this point. I'm not sure how many scoop-up nets are left. We are going to see the Speed Lightning Energy attachment. He is going to draw 2 more cards. Looks like it's Quick Ball and Lost Vacuum. I mean, he could get rid of the big Parasol, but I don't think that really matters. You might want to play it just to essentially deck thin. And now we see the full Reggie Brigade come out from that Quick Ball, getting rid of a Twin Energy. Yeah, I think the key things that this matchup came down to is, number one, Samuel making that double Comfey double prize loss. Plus not keeping any Temple of Sinnohs to be able to make the energies completely colorless and useless for Drew. Plus also benching the double Goodra. He's just given Drew so many options to be able to come back in this game. And especially with the double Regis prized, and also how long this game 1 is taking too. You could have easily won this game 1 and taken like 30 minutes to do so, and then game 2 could potentially not finish, but still you're favored in this matchup. So now you're going to get to the point where Drew is probably going to win game 1, and then Samuel is likely going to win game 2 because it's just that good of a matchup for him, unless he makes yet another DPL mistake. Or double benches Goodras again. So Drew knows what he's doing with this Regis deck. I'm sure he's played against a ton of Goodra with this deck at various points. We have seen Goodra win a regional at one point somehow. I don't think Goodra is very good. It is very good against things like Regis, though. It has a very particular matchup spread. I do think that the Lost Zone version that they are playing too is also worse to Lost Box than just the straight up Arceus Goodra version would be. So I don't know if I would ever play the Lost Zone version. Now we do see it looks like Rolling Iron knocking out that Alecki, but the Gift Energy is activating, allowing him to draw a couple extra cards. Now we're going to see, who do we want to promote? Definitely not Steel, I'm going to tell you that much. That thing does probably 0 to this Goodra, honestly. It does 50 damage less for each retreat cost on your opponent's active. Plus then the Goodras are reducing 80. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it does like negative 10 damage. We see yet another Quick Ball come out. Looks like we're going to get that Alecki. It looks like he has the option of which Alecki he wants to go with. There's 2 in his... He has a 4-card deck left. Drew might actually deck out before he even wins the game. So here's the thing. Drew goes for what we call good Alecki. As long as he can scoop up this Regis, which I don't think he can do. He'll be able to snipe that Comfey on the bench. And the Cramorant again. So yeah, Drew would need like 2 scoop-up nets. I think this is getting to be a really bad point for Drew. I think that what he's going to have to do right now is he's going to attack with the Regis. It'll do like 20 damage, but it's going to prevent Goodra from being able to damage the Regis coming into his next turn. So he could potentially just stall out with this Regis. The only problem is I don't think Drew has enough turns left in order to be able to do that since his deck is so small. So maybe he can do it for a turn and prevent one knockout that Samuel could take. But how is he going to get the damage he needs onto this Goodra at this point? Because he only did 40 that previous turn. There's no way he can knock out the Comfey and the Cramorant with the resources he currently has available left to him. Yeah, especially now that he's lost zoning another energy, he can't even hard attach multiple times to that Alecki on the bench to get it going. It looks like he also has the other Alecki in his hand. I think he's at like 1 card left in his deck. I think it's just 20 he's doing. So you should be at 60. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. So he's got 210 HP remaining, so he'd have to do like 290 damage in order to win the game. So yeah, it looks like Samuel, even through all of his misplays, the power of Goodra is so strong against Reggie specifically, I should say, that he's just gonna run away with the game. So we do see Mirage Gate coming out. I think it's fine to just put an energy on each one of your bench Pokemon, just so that you have potential retreating options if you really had to. If you're playing Hyper Potion at all, you could just put them on your active and then really seal the game. But looks like he's just gonna put one on his Cramorant. I think I would have played that other one down on the Comfey as well, but I mean, I don't think it really matters anyway. Just play the Mirage Gate to thin out the deck and thin out your hand. But yeah, putting it on the Comfey would then one more additional card. You know that Sam's not gonna deck out first because he's got that Ordinary Rod in his hand as well. Although he's using Colress's Experiment for no reason right now. I mean, he's still gonna deck out second, right? So that's fine, but I still think that you just not do that. Like, I would just Ordinary Rod here, and you can put 4 more cards back into your deck. Oh, he does have the Temple of Sinnoh as well. Oh, yeah, so this should seal the game for Samuel. We are seeing the Greninja come down as well. I think that you don't bench that, and then don't draw your last 2. Why are you doing that? Like, what are you gaining from that? Switch Retreat. Not quite sure what that does. He's going to now Ordinary Rod in 4 cards. Looks like he's choosing just 3. Oh, maybe he's thinking that the effect is on the Goodra? Oh, it is. The effect is on the Goodra, isn't it? It's not on the Regis. So now he can attack through the Regis. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect play from Sam, actually. And Drew just scoops at that point. Yeah, even with that 2 prize card penalty, Drew could not pull it out because it is just that uphill of a matchup for him. Yeah, Regis says the defending Pokemon is affected by it. So that would be Samuel's active Pokemon. Yeah, for some reason I thought the effect was on the Regis. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, that's perfect for him. So he won a very long game 1. And since it's just such a favored matchup, with the 18 minutes that they have left, I don't think that there's any world where Drew can win this matchup. Also, shoutouts to the cool ass Blastoise tattoo there. Alright, so prize cards, we got the one Battle-Lecky and the one Gigas. Nothing too super relevant for Drew, so he'll actually be able to play this game, unlike the last, like, 4 turns. The first 4 turns of the last game. And then for Samuel's prizes, nothing too relevant. I mean, he's got a Goodra V-Star, but as we know, he plays at least 2, so he should still have access to 1. And he's got to play 4 Comfey, so... Ordinary Rod will be in there for when he needs it. By the time he needs to Ordinary Rod, he should pull it off his prize cards, so... Yeah, nothing too exciting in the prize cards. And it looks like even though Drew prized 1 Gigas, he already has 1 in play and another 1 in hand. So on his next turn, he can Marnie that Gigas to the bottom. I don't think he's going to want to play the Research. He might, though. I think he has the Path to the Peak in his hand as well. Or no, is that boss? Looks like he's getting rid of the Choice Belt. That's a little scary, but you do need to get set up. We are going to Ultra Ball for... He is checking the prize cards. Or maybe not. I think he was like, do I have at least 1 of each? Cool. Okay, I don't need to know the exact counts. And yeah, he's going to research away the Gigas. So that could end up mattering. Of course, Samuel's not going to know that one of the Gigas is prized. So maybe you can get away with having just the one Gigas in play with the one in your discard. We are going to see the heavy ball at this point. Looks like he's going to choose the Regieleki. So the only Gigas, the only Reggie left in prizes is the Gigas, and it looks like he might draw that around the same time as the heavy ball. So the placement of the prize cards in that situation doesn't matter. It would be nice if one of them was at the top and one of them was at the bottom, but it looks like they're both in the middle. So that's going to be a little unfortunate when he draws both of those. He's going to get like a useless heavy ball after he gets the Gigas or vice versa. So we do see, looks like we have Aurora and Gift now down on the Drago. And we're going to Ordinary Rod in the Drago and Gigas already. So perfectly executed there by Drew. He's using his Ordinary Rods to the full effectiveness. Being able to get the guys that he only has 2 copies of total currently into his deck. Looks like we are using the Scoop Up Net to put those energies back in the discard pile. The Regieleki is coming down. He has the full Gigas Brigade down, so he is able to use Battleki to snipe the Goodra on the bench, getting around the potential minus 80 damage that it will be doing in the future, hitting that thing before it's even ready, and Sam immediately scoops. That start was so good from Drew and so bad from Sam that it was just absolutely disgusting. The fact that Drew was able to pull it out like that, and it was hard, right? Like, I'm always advocating for early scoops, but in that previous game, like, it was very winnable for Drew for a majority of that time. Maybe he could have scooped a turn or two earlier, but it was very much a gray area. So the fact that they only have 15 minutes left to play another full game 3, Drew's gonna have to hope that exact same game 2 situation happens. Drew's probably like feeling a lot better that at the very least this is a tie now, but it's very unlikely that he'll be able to win in enough time. I don't think either player will be able to win in enough time. Even though Samuel's very favored in this matchup, I think that he just won't have enough time to take 6 individual prize cards, because that's going to be at least 7 turns to do that, which means that Drew is probably going to get at least 7 turns. So do you think that 14 full turns can play out in 14 minutes? That's not how Pokemon works. And that's again why I think that they need to fix the time rules, because if you think about it, each turn, like if you're doing single prize matchups or a matchup like this where you do have a 2-prizer that just tanks a whole lot of hits, each turn isn't going to take 1 minute. And even if you have 50 minutes, that's still 50 turns shared between the two of you. You each get 25 turns for 3 full games. Like, 25 turns isn't enough time for one player for 3 games. You'd legitimately have to have like 7 turns per game, every game. And you know that turns play out and take much longer than 1 minute. Even just shuffling with this mulligan, you can't see it because I'm in front of it here, but it's 12 minutes and 30 seconds exactly left on the clock. So obviously, definitely enough time left to play this matchup, and while this is really good for Drew that he's gonna get a couple extra cards off mulligans, it's pretty bad for both of them in the fact that time is ticking. We're now down to 12 minutes and 5 seconds. That one mulligan cost them over 30 seconds. It looks like it's going to end up being at least 1 full minute for that mulligan. Yeah, you could see that sigh from Drew. He's not happy. I mean, I'm sure he's happier to have the tie than the loss, but at this point, I mean, it's already round 14. You're 9-2-2. You want to make sure you can get those wins. And at this point in the tournament, this is a tie is basically gonna get you out of top cut. You're not gonna make top cut at that record. I think that's the same record as 10-3-1. You're probably going to need like 12 or 13 wins with the way that these regionals go now. I think this is a lower, since it's on the West Coast, I think it was lower turnout. I think it was about 800 people. So maybe somebody with like 11 wins can make it. So as long as there's like one more round, I'm assuming that, you know, maybe he can win the next round and make it in. But again, this is not ideal. You don't want to have to play multiple winning in rounds and like risk not getting in. You want to win and in on your winning in and then have additional rounds to just de-stress. So we do see already 4 Regis down from Drew. We have the Comfey Goodra start again from Sam. And it looks like it was just Comfey Goodra pass. So as long as Drew gets this exact same start again, he might actually be able to pull this out. He's got Battle Eki down on the bench so that he can snipe. He just needs, it looks like he already has 2 Aurora in his discard. He just needs, I think, 1 more energy of any type in his discard pile, and the other 2 Regis, and a Scoop Up Net, which he does have in hand. He has the Rock, he has the Scoop Up Net. So what you do is you Ultra Ball, you get rid of that Ordinary Rod. That's fine. Oh, he's going to get rid of the Scoop Up Net? No, I would get rid of the Choice Belt here. So he's got the Rock. Yeah, no, you get rid of the Choice Belt because then you can save the Scoop Up Net on the Drago. Use the Drago's ability to draw 3 cards, scoop it up, and then put the Aleki up. And then you can hard attach for turn on it. Yeah, it looks like he's just going in for the Regi Drago attack right now. I mean, I guess just knocking out the active also just kills the consistency of the deck for Samuel. So maybe this is just better. But he does get just another Comfey out. So as long as he's got a Switch card, it looks like he does have Switch in his hand. You know, Drew might be able to pull this out, but it's going to be really tight. It's most likely just going to be a tie. Yeah, as long as Sam benches enough Pokemon, this will just end up coming out to a tie. They only have 8 minutes and 34 seconds left. We do see the Marnie come down from Sam. That's going to disrupt Drew's hand and draw them both a fresh new one. Looks like we do see the Gift Energy from Drew, though. That's something that he definitely wants to see. So that Marnie ended up actually helping Drew. I'm not sure what his hand looked like before that, but he has a Marnie and a Gift Energy. So he's going to be able to end a Quick Ball. So if something does even somehow get knocked out this turn, he'll be able to Quick Ball for whatever Regi he needs. Yeah, it was looking so good for Drew immediately, but then like as soon as that second Comfey comes out, like you could see the light at the end of the tunnel fading. It's getting further away. It's almost like your Wile E. Coyote. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, you run towards it, but it's just a painted brick wall and you just smack. So we got the Metal Energy attached to the Goodra V. We have double Battle VIP Pass in hand, but it's not the first turn anymore, so those are pretty dead and useless in his hand. Drew might be able to still come back with this. I think, again, it could be possible that he can just, yeah, it looks like he's going for it this turn, now that he has the full setup going. He's gonna get Aurora and he's going to attach Gift Energy. Yes, for the love of God, attach Gift Energy. You only need to discard 2 Lightning Energy for this Aleki instead of all Lightning Energy. So he is going to discard the 2 Aurora energies. Now he's 1 hard attach of a lightning or speed lightning or an Aurora away from being able to attack with his active, meaning that he can use the Regigigas to actually power up a benched Pokemon instead. So this is perfect. As long as Sam doesn't get the Goodra V-Star, this is looking like Drew can actually win the game. But again, Sam's going to have to just start benching just any Pokemon he can. He's going to have at least 2 Comfey abilities this turn. Looks like he's got a Scoop Up Net in hand. So he's going to tap that Comfey, but yeah, he remembers, let's not make that mistake like we did in the first game. We're going to use a coin to mark it. Going to get rid of the Marnie. We get another Scoop Up Net. Oh, so he's going to be able to start digging. So, oh, and he has the V-Star. So that's going to help a lot. The Path to the Peak is not in play yet. Drew hasn't been able to see that, so Goodra can evolve and Moisture Star this turn. I think you can easily Lost Zone this other Goodra. You're only going to be able to have access to one this whole match. Six minutes left. What are we going to do? We're going to see that Comfey come down. Scoop Up Net. Comfey again. Oh, there's another Goodra. That's the V. Yeah, so I think you do put that Goodra down in this scenario because your first one is so heavily damaged. You're at 7, so you can Mirage Gate to either Goodra. You can even attack with that nude Goodra potentially, but I think you'd rather Moisture Star and Rolling Iron, and then you have 2 Goodras potentially set up. You can get rid of the Battle Lecky so you know that your benched Goodra isn't likely going to be hit that hard on this next turn. Drew would have to have another Scoop Up Net in order to be able to power up good Alecki in order to even snipe these Comfeys, but I still would be wary about overbenching Comfeys like he is doing right now. We do see the Escape Rope. Maybe he'll go into third Comfey. Yeah, it looks like he just wants to dig as hard as he can, get as many into the Lost Zone as possible. Maybe he is playing Sableye in this deck. I don't think he is, because I think it's just Metal and Water energies. But maybe he's trying to get up to 10 cards in the Lost Zone. So he does Lost Zone a Metal to keep the Capture. Who do you attach the Capture to? Probably, I guess, yeah, the active can Hard Retreat. And then what are you going to get off of this? Maybe a Cramorant, I guess? No, probably the Radiant Greninja, right? I think Radiant Greninja is fine to bench here. If you're going to bench anything at all. Yeah, we do see another V-Star is in the deck. So it looks like it is probably a 3-3 line of Goodra. You only ever really want to use 2 Goodras in a match in this particular deck. So it's good to have a 3-3 line because then you have the option to Lost Zone your extra pieces or allow a 1-1 line to be prized, etc., etc. So we do see Radiant Greninja's ability coming out, concealing those cards, discarding a card, and we're drawing the other Goodra V-Star. So that other Goodra V will be able to evolve next turn. It did come down this turn. But we don't see any Mirage Gates yet. That's what he was digging so hard to get. We haven't seen a single Mirage Gate. I think that you are forced to Moisture Star this specific turn, though, because otherwise, Drew can use the Regi ability to fully load up the Ice on his active and then retreat it into the Alecki on his bench, potentially, and then hard attach to the Alecki and snipe off that benched Goodra. Although, I guess if he were to do that, that's still only 240 damage. You're 30 short. You don't really want to be sniping that Goodra again. I mean, he could snipe the other Goodra, soften them both up. But they only have 3 minutes left. I don't think that there's enough time for either player to win this game. Yeah, I think definitely if they had more time, this is very interesting. I think that both players actually have the potential to win this game. But there's just not nearly enough time for them to be able to play it out. We do see Twin Energy came down on Regis. It looks like maybe he'll be attacking with that this turn. He does have the 2 Auroras in the discard that he skillfully put into the discard with the Regieleki. So yeah, we'll be loading up with those. The Gift Energy is still on the Aleki, so he won't be able to put that on the ice this turn. But that is enough to just take a knockout on a Comfey. He is going to take 1 prize, so he's now down to 4 prize cards remaining. He is in the lead, but will he be able to take the final 4 prize cards in the next 2 minutes? Especially when Sam's turn is happening right now. So it's likely going to happen that Drew will likely be turn 0. Because Sam's turn will probably take the rest of these 2 minutes. And even if not, like... yeah, so Drew will go into time on his turn, potentially. And he'll only have a maximum of 2 turns to be able to take 4 prize cards, and it's not going to happen. He would have to 2-shot the Goodra V and attack the Goodra V star 1 more time without it doing the rolling iron. And that's the only path to take 4 prize cards in as few turns as possible. But that's still 3 turns. That's 3 attacks that you would have to do. And it looks like we are going to see the rolling iron this turn. I would love to see Temple of Sinnoh come into play and the Moisture Star, just guaranteeing that Drew can't win the game. Even though I think it's pretty obvious that he won't be able to win the game at this point with how much time is left, being 57 seconds. And even though Sam is behind by 2 prize cards, if this game were to be able to finish, I do think that it would be likely that he could just pull it out. I think he's considering who he wants to promote, but I think that you just go for the Goodra V-Star and you take the knockout. Because the effect of the Regis is on the defending Pokemon, which was the Comfey. Don't tell me he hard attached twice. I don't think so. Because he used Mirage Gate on his 1 Pokemon. Yeah, he attached once. They're clarifying. Oh. Is that going to be another 2 prize penalty? This is why you don't want to make mistakes in this game. I'm not rewinding this time to go and look at it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Goodra had the energy from the last turn. Oh, so if he Mirage... I think he had the metal last turn, so I think he Mirage Gated for 1 water energy. Or he Mirage Gated for 2 water energy, and they have to be 2 different colors. Maybe that's what happened. Because I don't think he hard attached twice from hand, but I could be wrong. So it looks like Speed Lightning energy coming down yet again from Drew. So we're going to see a fully powered Aleki. I think they were trying to say that that Regis wasn't able to be knocked out, but it 100% is, because the Comfey was the one that had that effect on it and it died. So nothing has that effect on it currently. We're going to see that Ordinary Rod put back in the Regis. He's likely got a Ball Search card in his hand so that he can... Well, actually, maybe not if he's shuffling that much. Look, 5 seconds though, Drew. You are going to be turn 0. Can you win in the next 2 turns? It doesn't look like Sam got a prize card penalty for that other mistake he made. So he's made 2 mistakes on stream so far. Well, 2 game-breaking mistakes, basically. But yeah, no, the prize cards still aren't red on Drew's side, so... Yeah, without another 2 prize card penalty, I don't think Drew will be able to take this match back. And also, the Moisture Star hasn't happened yet either, so if Samuel has access to the Temple of Sinnoh, he can still Moisture Star at some point. Yeah, Drew has to 2-shot this Goodra. Yeah, and it looks like he's just going to hit for 20. That's what we call Big Oof. Yeah, so we see evolve to the other Goodra V-Star. We're going to see another Mirage Gate come out. We're just going to get one medal, because that's all that's left in the deck. Put it down on the other Goodra. Try to get that charged up. They are in time, though. This should be turn 1 of time. And I think that this is just going to be a draw, because Drew's not going to be able to take 4 prize cards, and Samuel is definitely not going to be able to take 5. He has 2 turns in order to take 5 prize cards, 5 individual knockouts. That's not even possible. So again, would love to see Pokemon change the rules to be whoever's up on prizes, because then Drew would have been able to win this match. It would also favor more aggressive playstyles and make it so things like Mewtwo V Union are less playable. Which, Mewtwo V Union is a cool and very fun deck. I was very much a fan of Wailord during its time, which I believe Drew actually invented. I believe he invented that deck, if I remember correctly. But I don't think that those types of decks are healthy for the game. I don't think that Pokemon was designed to have control install decks in them because of the way the prize cards work and everything. It just like leads to too many ties. And yeah, I think they're just talking about how it's definitely a tie. We just see a Marnie. I guess they're just still playing it out. I think this should be the last turn of time. But yeah, anyways, guys, looks like this is going to be a draw. So if you haven't commented, liked, and subscribed yet, you should do so down below. Help feed that delicious YouTube algorithm. And if you ever see me at an event coming up, my next regional is going to be Orlando regionals. So if you see me there, make sure you pick up a copy of my V-Star marker. And yeah, looks like a tie here. So I will be seeing you guys in the next round.